Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to give you a little update on the United States and where it's heading according to its birth chart and the leader, President Biden's chart. By comparing these two charts, we can get a sense of what is to be happening in the United States. So let's put up the chart that I use for the United States, which is July 4th, 1776, 6:30 p.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So this is the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And this chart works beautifully. So to give an idea, looking at it, I want you to know the most important thing that many astrologers are talking about right now is the fact that the United States is about to have a Pluto return. Now, Pluto takes approximately, in its elliptical orbit, about 244 years for it to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. And here we come. From that date of 7076, it's about to return. Actually, the exact return of Pluto, where it comes back to 6 degrees in this chart, 6 degrees of Capricorn, will not actually be exact till the year of 2023 and 2024. That's where it's going to be hovering in 2024 on the exact degree. But don't get me wrong, when it gets close, when within a 3-degree orb, we've got it. It's happening. So what you're going to see is some major happenings. Now, Pluto return is happening in the second house of the United States. What does that mean? Well, that actually means money, finances, and many people have said, you know, we're looking at a big economic crash to come in these years. But I don't think it's here yet. But there is going to be all sorts of problems coming up here pretty soon. As you can see, the second house in this particular chart, remember the second house is finances and money. And transiting Pluto is there already. As we speak, Pluto's hovering around 0 to 3 degrees on and off this year. So where it's headed is that in the second house, it is headed to where it's going to oppose Mercury at 3 degrees of Cancer. And Mercury sits in the 8th house, which is big money. This deals with banks, corporations, government. And when Pluto opposes this particular planet, this is a lot to take in because Mercury in this particular chart, by the fact that it rules Gemini and it rules Virgo, Virgo is the 10th house. So there's something about a big shift in leadership and presidents, according to this Pluto, aspecting Mercury, which rules the 10th house of the leader of the country. Pluto is transformation and change, right? So we're going to see an enormous transformation and change in our leadership this year. Now, something that's about to come about very soon is going to be when Mars and Saturn conjoin together. And this conjunction is going to be a doozy that happens in early April. Yes, this conjunction in early April when Mars and Saturn come together the first week of April at 28 degrees of, yes, you guessed it, Capricorn. So they're coming together, and it's in the second house of money for the United States. So you know something's about to happen financially in the markets. But I will say this, Mars and Saturn, they are delays and setbacks together in the house of money. Here's where we have the big setback and reset. But I don't I'm not sure it's going to stay down, but get ready. This will be a major shift. And this comes April, but things are going to change right after. But watch this shift in April. Okay, so looking at that, just thinking about where all of that is going, one more thing to think about in April. In April, Jupiter and Neptune come together at 29 degrees of Aquarius, and then the same month, before the end of the month, they both transit into Pisces. They're traveling together in the 4th house of the United States chart. They enter into the 4th house. What does that mean? Well, Neptune means things you can't see, and Jupiter expands it. The 4th house deals with land, homeland. There are many invasions that we don't know about, we can't see, that are invading our homeland while Jupiter and Neptune go into the 4th house. Now, to get a little clearer, I like to bring the president's chart up. So let's put up President Biden's chart, and let's see if we can see anything that's being triggered around the same time. As I was talking about, that conjunction of Mars and Saturn, it's lethal. It is lethal because looking at that conjunction the first week of April, it is going to be at 28 degrees, right, of Capricorn. Well, notice in his chart, his Mercury sits right there at 28 degrees of Libra. And so that means it's going to be squaring that point, casting a square, Mars, Saturn. But on top of that, at the same time, transiting K2 is going to be on his Mercury at 28 degrees of Libra. Transiting K2 will be squaring, actually, the Saturn-Mars will be at the midpoint of Rahu in K2, all at 28 degrees. Rahu, K2, Rahu's 28 Aries, K2's 28 Libra, and K2 sitting directly on President Biden's Mercury. And we have the Mars-Saturn squaring that degree. This is all happening, to be exact, around April 5th through the 7th. But sometimes aspects don't happen exactly on that day, but I guarantee you it's going to be happening around that time. So April is huge. And on top of that, around the same time, transiting Pluto at this time, as we speak, is sitting around 2-3 degrees of Capricorn. And if you'll look at Biden's chart, his natal Jupiter sits at 2 degrees of Cancer, which activates what? That Mercury in the United States chart. So you can see there is a huge uprising about the economy in the United States. It is huge what's going to be happening, this incredible shift in devastation. Now, let me just say this. If the stock market really crashes a lot, it's a good time to invest because it's going to come up, it's going to go down, it's going to come up, but I think this is going to be a big one. Saturn, Mars, realize this. On the 30th of March of 2020, when we had that stock market crash, it plummeted, but it sprung back. That was when Mars and Saturn conjoined. So notoriously, when they come together, they cause setbacks and delays. This will be about the economy, but it's going to shift. It's going to shift. It's not going to stay that way, but let me just put it this way. It is an opportunity, and it's going to scare everyone. Everyone's going to think this is it. It's never coming back. It will. Maybe not as quick as before, but this is a big, huge cyclic event. And of course, you can see it in both the United States and President Biden's chart. So this is a huge, everyone's concerned about what's going on in the financial markets in the United States and around the world. Trust me, this is going to affect everyone. Now, another thing is that's very, very interesting. Around the same time, we've got the transit of Jupiter around 28 degrees of Aquarius. So Jupiter is casting a trine to that Mercury. So we have Jupiter trining it, Mars and Saturn squaring it, and K2 sitting on the president's Mercury. Now going to his chart, Mercury is not a good planet for his chart. It is in his 12th house, which is the house of endings and losses. And it also rules the 8th house and the 11th house. Now, the 11th house ruler in Vedic astrology is never a great planet, but the 8th house is detrimental. The 8th house is endings. So I want you to be aware of all this planetary energy that's hitting his Mercury. And be aware if you have any planets around that degree mark. You're going to have an enormous shift and change in your life. I know I do. So there's going to be a big change coming for me as well. So this is a point to take reference of. I will be keeping you posted because there are so many things that are going on, but I thought it was very, very important to give you an update on what's going to be happening little by little to keep you informed, but this is an important turnabout, and we have to be mentally, spiritually, and emotionally prepared so that we can make the best of it. And it's not going to be a bad thing because eventually it's got to turn around. But here's why I say it's not a bad thing. Because whenever Jupiter and Saturn aspect the same point, it's called a point of manifestation. Saturn's aspecting it and Jupiter's aspecting it. And therefore, it's going to manifest something that is relative to what that planet rules and what house it's in. So look at your chart and see if you have any planets around 28 degrees of Libra. That's the point, the crucial point to pay attention to. Of course, if you have a planet at 28 degrees of Capricorn, it's important as well as Cancer or Aries, but Libra's the place to watch. So with that, I'd like to close, and I'll keep you updated throughout the year with these predictive updates. So watch the world change. And before I go, remember, if you want to find out more information on me, if you would like a consultation, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And remember, while you're there, pay attention to my beautiful spiritual jewelry for sale. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.